A quorum being present, the committee reconvenes to continue its considerations of bills previously noticed. The chair now calls up H.R. 2162, the Housing Financial Literacy Act of 2019. The clerk will report the bill.
H.R. 2162, a bill to require the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to discount FHA single-family mortgage insurance premium payments for first-time homebuyers who complete a financial literacy housing counseling program.
Without objection, the first reading of H.R. 2162 is dispensed with. The gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Beatty, the sponsor of the bill, has an amendment in the nature of a substitute, copies of which have been distributed in advance and are on the dais. The clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 2162, offered by Mrs. Beatty of Ohio. Strike all after the enacting clause and insert the following. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Housing Financial Literacy Act of 2019. Section 2, discount on mortgage insurance premium payments for first-time homebuyers.
Without objection, the amendment in the nature of a substitute will be considered as read and considered base text for the purposes of further amendment. I now recognize the gentlewoman from Ohio for 5 minutes to explain the bill and her amendment.
First, I'd like to start by thanking the chairwoman for supporting this bill and bringing this bill in the nature of amendment to the floor, to this markup in this committee. Let me just say that I have introduced this bill since April of 2014. So this is the fourth Congress that I've had the opportunity to work on this bill. So it's something that's very dear to me because financial literacy is a lifelong journey. I'm also very honored to say that I serve as the co-chair of the Financial and Economic Literacy Council, along with my fellow colleague, Congressman Steve Stivers from Ohio, who has also worked with me over the last few years on this bill. I would like to say that the Housing Insurance and Community Development Subcommittee also held a legislative hearing on this bill on May 8th, and at the hearing entitled A Review of the State of Barriers to Minority Home Ownership. When I think about this bill and I think about all of the things that it can do to make sure that everyday Americans have an opportunity for home ownership, my bill, the Housing Financial Literacy Act, H.R. 2162, would provide a 25-point discount on a FHA upfront mortgage insurance premium to first-time homebuyers who complete a HUD-approved housing counseling program. And I agree with my colleague yesterday. My colleague, Congressman Tipton, said, what we're doing is good policy for the American people when he was talking about a piece of legislation. And I thought I would borrow from that and say that's what we're doing today. This is good policy for the American people. The bill would also incentivize first-time homebuyers to take these important housing counselor classes prior to making what would likely be the largest financial commitment in their lives. At a time when one of the main barriers to home ownership is saving up enough for the down payment, this bill would reduce the barrier for being able to do that. The concept is not new. FHA actually offered a 25 basis point discount for first-time homebuyers who took a HUD-approved housing counseling class back in 1996, thanks to a Republican member of the House who offered this concept as an amendment to a spending bill, which later was passed in the Newt Gingrich-led House. However, the way that the language was structured, Madam Chair, the program became moot when HUD lowered the upfront premium for everyone, regardless of whether they took the counseling classes. So let me just say, we have looked at study after study, and here's the good news. Studies purport that those who take the counseling courses are less likely to have a foreclosure. It also tells you that this is a financial opportunity for us to support this because of the cost to the American people and government for foreclosures. When you look at first-time home buyers, we also have statistics on our side. Not only are 82% of FHA insured mortgages used by first-time home buyers, but an FHA insured mortgage is used roughly half of all the purchases by African Americans in Hispanic households. As I took the opportunity to call the NAACP in the state of Ohio, in Arkansas, and the national chair of the NAACP and the Urban League, who actually offers these housing courses, they agree and support this bill. Let me also say that the National Association of Realtors, the National Housing Resource Centers, the National Association of Federally Insured Credit Unions, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the National Credit Union Association, Leadership Conference for Civil and Human Rights, League of United Latin American Citizens, Public Citizens National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals support it. So I can tell you we have a whole host of people. This is the right thing to do, and I encourage my colleagues on the other side to support this. Thank you.